Thank you for choosing to watch the Watchman News Headlines video. Our full episodes can now be seen over at Patreon with much more added content for just $2 a month. Link is in the description. If you cannot afford $2 a month, please consider using our Amazon affiliate link, purchasing from our Teespring store, or making a PayPal donation. All links are below. In order for us to grow, we have to make changes to enable it. Our time is valuable, and we have been one of the very few news sources actually dedicated to bringing you honest, hard-hitting, actionable news and information. Plus, for your $2 a month, you do not have to hear me blabber about these links. It's a win for us all.
Bullshit.
Thank you. Good morning, watchmen and watchwomen of YouTube. So, real quick, I want to start out with saying that it's a new month. Right now it's the 1st, so you jump onto Patreon, you'll get the whole month and not be caught short a bunch of days of the month. So just wanted to say that. And I just wanted to add that it's not just the live shows that we're putting over there. I'll show you. There's quite a bit. Let me figure out how to get there as efficiently as possible here. But there's a lot of stuff that I have been posting, and I think I just clicked the wrong thing to be able to show you that. That's okay. Let me back up. Not a problem. And I'll show you as soon as it loads. I've not just been doing the live shows. I've been posting quite frequently. In fact, I did some work today with the onions. I planted the onions, a second round of the onions, because the first round was a massive failure. So posted an article about what's going on in Myanmar. So you guys didn't even get to hear about this. This was something kind of strange over... Well, this video was taken from Boise, Idaho. I do believe that we did get to the bottom of what it was, but it was indeed strange. You guys missed that because you're not over here. So I put out an article about APMEX, or however you say them, and they're suspending the sales of physical silver. And then now, of course, they're saying it could be delays in getting it. But live show, this is... some important information to know how to, work with extremely heavy objects and being able to move extremely heavy objects without having all kinds of fancy equipment. So this is what I'm saying. There's plenty of stuff that I'm posting over here. It's not just the live shows. So I try to put out at least, 2 things or so per day, if not more, aside from the live show. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. And remind you that it is the beginning of the month, which is probably a good time, if you're interested in coming on over, to do so. So with that, let's go ahead and get back to some headlines here. All right. Starting with news that I shared out last night, U.S. demands Myanmar's military immediately reverse its takeover as Rohingya community calls for democracy to be restored. A leader of Myanmar's ruling party calls for protest against dictatorship following arrest by the military, says reports. Let's see. Outrage after police pepper sprayed and handcuffed a 9-year-old. Well, actually, they pepper sprayed a handcuffed 9-year-old in Rochester, New York. That she was in the police car, and it was, I know there's going to be lots of excuses made, but man, come on, 9 years old, handcuffed in the back of a squad car. That was absolutely unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary. And this is why we really need to start getting others involved in these particular incidents, people that are more geared towards dealing with, say, children in this case. The girl was asking for her dad. And as a result of wanting her daddy, she got pepper sprayed. It's insane. A Russian prosecution backs prison term for Navalny over probation violations. This is still last stuff that I put out last night, by the way. UK orders 100 million doses of French Valneva COVID-19 vaccine candidate, a drug maker says. Okay, now we're to this morning's stuff that I put out. Silver spikes as small investors take on Wall Street in metals market. Let's see. After large population fall during 2020, demographic situation is worrying for Moscow, but not desperate. France to get AstraZeneca vaccine from next week, the minister says, after row with company over supplies. Ukraine's purge of its past ties to Moscow picks up pace as waiters face fines for saying thank you in Russian. Being there, done that, Microsoft could step in if Google exits Australia over content licensing row, PM Morrison says. Russia has planned to cut off country from U.S.-controlled global internet, but only as a last resort, says former President Medvedev. I know I messed his name up. Robinhood narrows trade restrictions list to 8 companies, including GameStop. And yeah, it was the 8 bigger companies like BlackBerry and GameStop, and bigger meaning the ones that they were trying to short the shorters, so to speak. French restaurant owners who open in defiance of lockdown on Monday will be punished, says Economy Minister. Still a long road ahead in England's COVID battle, despite every care home resident being offered a jab, the National Care Forum warns. Market makers didn't force my hand to save their hides from Reddit investors, Robinhood CEO tells Elon Musk in an interview. New lockdown is the very last option for France, finance minister says, as top doctor warns not doing so is too big of a risk. Elon Musk thinks Bitcoin is on the verge of broad acceptance. UK scientist slams Macron's claims that AstraZeneca jab is quasi-ineffective in over 65s. And you're going to see another article that has to do with the elderly that says, okay. Why? There's so much back and forth on this stuff, it's unreal. Ryanair expects to lose over $1 billion this year due to travel restrictions. Iran is not after nuclear weapons, says Tehran, as U.S. suggests it almost has enough fissile material for atomic bomb. France asks Germany to halt construction of Nord Stream 2 over jailing of Navalny, despite Paris' growing reliance on Russian gas. GameStop AMC stocks rise as retail traders look to inflict more pain on Wall Street. 12 arrested in SWAT operation after activists armed with knives and axes briefly occupy hotel in Olympia, Washington. COVID-19 school closures could cost UK children £350 billion, yeah, that's pounds, in lost earnings, the Economy Research Group says. I always get pounds and euros kind of mixed up. Kremlin dubs some protesters hooligans and provocateurs, says appeal for U.S. sanctions proves Navalny's team are foreign agents. A dictator's throne, Hitler's toilet seat, looted from Bavarian retreat, up for grabs with starting bid of $5,000. So there you go. If you've always wanted Hitler's toilet seat, there you go. As EU falls behind on supplies of COVID-19 vaccines, German health minister entertains possibility of using Russia's Sputnik V. Elon Musk says his Neuralink startup has a brain-chipped monkey who plays video games. China slams Canadian embassy after staff member ordered customized shirts featuring Wuhan and bat patterns. China rolls out carbon trading scheme in a bid to meet its ambitious 2060 neutrality goal. Russia ramps up natural gas supplies to China via Power of Siberia mega pipeline. Vaccine crime ring. Chinese police make 80 arrests and seize 3,000 saline-filled syringes. Thai police clash with opponents of military coup outside Myanmar's embassy in Bangkok. Former head of Twitter Europe warns anonymity, and I know I butchered that, ban won't stop racism on social media. And it won't. You can't legislate, you can't dictate or any of that. Racism is what it is. And, I even think no matter how hard you made an effort to extinguish racism, I think there would still be some level of it. It's just a sad fact. There's always going to be somebody that looks at somebody else and points out their differences and comes up with some reason to have an issue with that person. It's just always going to be a thing, unfortunately. It's kind of human nature. Macron urges swifter European vaccine response after EU spat with AstraZeneca over COVID-19 jab supplies. Let's see. MGM acquires movie rights to book on GameStop versus hedge fund saga. England's health officials begin urgent tests amid fears of South African COVID strain now spreading in communities. Ripple's XRP cryptocurrency surges in what may be another coordinated buying frenzy. South Africa receives its first 1 million dose batch of COVID-19 vaccine. U.S. murder rates saw historic increase during COVID-19 pandemic, making 2020 a year with no modern precedent, says a report. Navalny press secretary Yarms said his latest associate put under house arrest and gets 2 months over alleged role in opposition protests. The elderly will not be given AstraZeneca jab in Poland, vaccine chief says, as concerns persist about lack of trial data. So, you see, there's a conflicting report here in Poland as to why they won't be giving it to their elderly. Germany rejects France's call to halt construction on Nord Stream 2 pipeline over Navalny's detention. Criminal gangs selling fake negative COVID-19 tests needed by most air travelers, Europol warns. Madrid to relax restaurant COVID-19 rules to help businesses and push back against political pressure despite high infections. Putin orders officials to prepare plans for creation of Russian Court of Human Rights as possible alternative to pan-European ECHR. Former Russian President Medvedev calls Twitter politicized platform and slams ban of Trump and claims site is biased towards Navalny. Ukrainian President Zelensky admits he's angry with Trump over leaked phone call and expresses hope that Biden will help Kiev join NATO. Scottish National Party backs potentially illegal plan to bump disabled and minority candidates to the top of the list. Let's see. Biden threatens sanctions against Myanmar unless military respects credible election. Pot calling the kettle black. 7 die at Spanish care home after getting Pfizer COVID-19 jab as all residents test positive for the virus. Second doses still to come. Zuckerberg admits having too much power but cheers new administration and seeks to work with Biden on key issues. I'm telling you, we really need to be concerned about big tech in all its forms, not just social media, but in all of its forms. Ground control to major lawsuit. Dubai launches space court to settle celestial corporate disputes. So Space Court, I think, is going to work hand in hand with Space Force. So Space Force and Space Court. So don't piss off Space Force or else you'll wind up in Space Court. I think they're all a bunch of space cases. Portugal to receive plane load of German doctors, hospital beds, and ventilators to counter dire COVID-19 surge. Let's see. I don't really trust experts, says New York Governor Cuomo, as 9 health officials resign in protest over his COVID-19 quote-unquote leadership. Guy needs to make up his mind. Austria to ease COVID-19 lockdown by opening schools and shops while tightening borders to hinder arrival of new variants. You know, backing up a little bit, we just need to be real here, right? Some of these quote-unquote experts are full of crap, okay? Some of them are real, some of them are full of crap. We can't just throw a label on somebody and say, oh, they're an expert, so that means we either believe them or we don't believe them. You have to realize that experts take all forms, and some of those forms are crap, and that's just the way it is. Let's see. Top Navalny aide asked alleged British spy for millions in funding. Intelligence video released by Russia's FSB claims to reveal. Swastikas painted on Belgian PM's house. Authorities blame anti-lockdown protesters. White House Press Secretary Psaki finally circles back after trolling from conservative Twitter over repetitive promise. By the way, she sucks. Just my opinion, but she sucks. Half of Americans want to see Senate convict Trump over Capitol riot, says a poll. I'd like to know who they polled. I mean, they obviously polled a bunch of Democrats because, I'm not buying this. I'm not buying that half of Americans want to see Trump convicted. I really don't. I would think, to be honest, that the majority of Americans just want him to knock it off, right? Large majority of the Americans just want to see the government work for them. And this is not working for them. This is them getting revenge and working for themselves and just wasting a bunch of time and money when they really need to be focused on the American people. California teacher says Bernie's mittens are a symbol of white privilege in the stupidest op-ed ever. Yeah, I'd have to say it's pretty stupid. Fauci flip-flops again and says there's no data to indicate that wearing multiple masks is beneficial in fighting the spread of COVID-19. 13 GOP House members demand AOC apologize to Ted Cruz for accusing him of attempted murder. Democrats seek to strip Marjorie Taylor Greene of House committee assignments to negate further harm from QAnon congresswoman. Let me open this because I can't remember the whole headline. Missourians at a loss as state demands repayment of unemployment money. And I know there are some out there that might automatically just say, well, if you got money you weren't supposed to, yeah, you got to pay it back. I could understand that, and I have no issue with, requiring it to be paid back, but now is not the time. Now is not the time, and in bulk is not the way. I don't know all the details, but largely a lot of these people probably didn't realize what was going on. They used that money to be able to survive and to pay their bills, and then now they are likely going to get hit with this big fee that, that they're wanting paid back. And, they can't make it as it is because in many cases they're no longer getting that unemployment because they ran out. And, because of the current situation, a lot of those people aren't back working. Or if they are back working, they're not making the same amount of money that they were. They can barely make ends meet now, if they are making ends meet at all. And now they're going to get slammed with this. There's got to be a better way. For all of this, there's got to be a better way. Maybe instead of our government playing games with each other and trying to stall for whatever reasons they decide they need to stall for, maybe we ought to focus on we the people. Just a thought. Anyway, I hope everybody has a good day. As always, God bless you. We love you, and be one with your spirit. Shalom.